I've got one question for y'all. To bean or not to bean? In this slow cooker right here, I'm gonna show y'all how to cook the easiest award-winning Texas style chili. Now, normally cooking the delicious chili is a long, tedious process. Takes a lot of time. You gotta cook it low and slow to extract all the flavor out of all those ingredients. Now usually I like to cook my chili outdoors in a Dutch oven. My mom likes to use the stove inside. I've done it a lot of different ways. We're gonna show you guys that there is a much easier way while we go about our very busy lives. With this slow cooker here, we're gonna be able to make that delicious chili with a lot less work. Now in my slow cooker carne guisada video, y'all really liked the optional steps that I gave you. And so in this video, I'm also gonna give y'all some optional steps. So I'm gonna show you guys how I sear the meat and then I add it to the slow cooker. I'm also gonna show you guys how to lift that fond and get it into the slow cooker. You do not wanna leave that delicious flavor behind. I'm also gonna show you guys how I make what's called a mirepoix. Now mirepoix brings a lot of extra flavor. It's a slow and slow, long process. You could just throw all those veggies in the slow cooker, but I'm gonna show you guys how the professional chefs do it. And when you put all these steps and all these ingredients together, that's what creates the award-winning Texas style chili. We call it a bowl of red. But there's one more elephant in this room. Do beans belong in Texas chili? And so in this slow cooker right here, we're whipping up a delicious pot of beans. So we're asking y'all this question: to bean or not to bean in Texas style chili? Vámonos! First things first, we're gonna start with our spice blend. 4 tablespoons of chili powder. And we're gonna also add 2 tablespoons of paprika. This is smoked paprika. You can use regular paprika if you like. Half a teaspoon of dried Mexican oregano. We're gonna drop that in here just like this. Up next, 2 teaspoons of ground cumin, 1 teaspoon of cayenne, 1 tablespoon of salt. It's called a flaked sea salt. It's the same thing as a fine sea salt. And 1 whole teaspoon of black pepper. Now that is our spice blend. In competition, we call them a rub. In chili world, we call it a dump. So we're gonna dump this into our chili a little bit later. So I'm mixing this all up just so all the flavors can blend and just to make it look a little prettier. But at the end of the day, it's all going right into the crock pot today. Let me give this a taste, see what it tastes like. That's good, that's really good. This right here, friends, is what makes chili chili. This little combination of flavors. This is a really, really nice blend. This is pretty much all you need into a chili. This chili we're making here today is a multi-time award-winning chili with this little spice blend right here. We're making the easiest chili recipe ever, so let's get this crock pot fired up. Click, click, we're on high. It's that easy. Let's get some beef broth in here. This is an unsalted beef broth because I do like to salt to taste pretty much on all my dishes. My recipe calls for a 1/4 cup of beef broth. Today, we're gonna make it extra beefy. We're using 32 ounces of beef broth. Let's go ahead and add 1 pound of ground beef. Oh yeah, that pan's hot. Let's go ahead and break it up and start searing our meat. Now this is an optional step. You do not have to brown the meat. I like adding that little extra flavor before going into the crock pot. But if you want to go straight in the crock pot, if that's more convenient for you, maybe you're busy or got to go to work, you know, and just need to do it in a hurry, that's fine too. Break all this up, get it all brown. I'm going to turn my pan on high so we can get a little sear action going. Feel free to mix pork in there, you know, whatever ratio you like. If you like to go all pork or half and half. Really, there's no right way, there's no wrong way. Y'all know I always say that, right? Ain't no right way, ain't no wrong way. Do it the way you like. Now I'm using some prime ground beef here today because it was on sale. But the general rule is if you're gonna buy ground beef already ground, you wanna ask the butcher or the store to give you some 80-20 chuck. That is like perfect for chili. That is the generally accepted ratio for hamburgers, and it kind of works the same for chili as well. You can hear this pan getting really hot now. Now we're gonna get a little bit of that browning action. You can see a little splatter popping up and down, and I forgot to put my apron on, so I'm probably gonna get in trouble. Not shown on camera, I went ahead and took out a little bit of the beef broth from the crock pot so that I can deglaze the pan. So all I'm doing right here is I'm gonna push the meat to the side, add a little bit of beef broth here. While the meat's still in the pan, you can do it before or after. I normally do it after, but I just had this idea that it would probably be better to do it like this today. You wanna add a little bit of liquid in there. You wanna get that fond off the bottom. That is the deliciousness that we're after right now into our chili. I think we got all of that. I'm gonna go ahead and dump all of this into my crock pot. So we've got our 1/3 pound of ground beef in the crock pot already. we're ready to prepare our veggies that are gonna go into our chili dish. Let's take a look at what our chili looks like right now. It's all there, and you can see it's nicely covered. You wanna make sure that that meat is covered completely. Now we have all 32 ounces of our beef broth in there. Feel free to add a little extra water. All right, let's move on to our veggies now. We're gonna start with our onion. I've got a half an onion here that's gonna go into our chili. So I'm just gonna add a little bit of oil here. I am using avocado oil. Use whatever oil you like. We don't want to burn the onion. We just want to saute it lightly. Add a little extra flavor there. And again, this could go directly into the crock pot, but I like to add a little extra flavor. So I'm going to sear my onions. Get our bell pepper out. Let's de-seed this thing. We're gonna slice our bell pepper nice and thin. And we're gonna fine dice it also. Let's get that in here. And again, you could just add all this into the crock pot. That is the easiest way, but I'm also showing you options and the way that I normally like to do stuff. Next up, we have 5 garlic cloves. I'm basically just gonna smash them and mince them a little bit. I do like to take this little stem off when I'm using tomatoes. The only time I don't do it is if I'm gonna go straight to the blender. It's just like a lot of other things in the world, you know? I mean, some people say it's good, some people say it's bad. You know, I'll tell you what my mom told me one day when I asked her something similar to that. She goes, I'm 82 and I'm still standing. So I'll leave y'all with that. That was Mama Tex. I'm gonna get this tomato in there first so we can get a little bit more liquid in there. Now we can turn the heat back up a little bit and let's saute these tomatoes, onions, bell pepper, and garlic. It smells great, as a matter of fact. Now that that is starting to sweat, tomatoes are starting to cook a little bit, this recipe also calls for a 1/4 cup of tomato paste. I know some chili recipes, particularly in Texas, do not like to use tomato paste, but I do feel like tomato paste and tomatoes are pretty standard. Like I always say, with all these ingredients, use it if you like it, leave it out if you don't. And so don't worry if you have a little fond there. As I said earlier, you can see all that moisture from the tomato. You see here? There's like no fond in there anymore. Even the one, if you see, it was around the edges. I didn't mention it, but I was purposely pushing the tomato and the onions to the edges like this. You'll see that it cleans out all the fond off the edges there too. You see that? Okay, up next, we're gonna get 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire, I don't know, what do you guys call this? My recipe also calls for 1 tablespoon of beef bouillon. Let's put our sauteed veggies in here. Ooh-wee. It smells delicious, baby. Lots of flavor going into this chili, lots of flavor. Up next, before we get our lid back on, let's go ahead and do our spice dump. This is all of that delicious, flavorful, and aromatic spices. This looks like a chili now. It looks delicious. I can't wait to take a bite. Now we have a perfectly well-balanced and super delicious chili going here. But what I'm gonna show you guys next, this is also in my cookbook. If you wanna kick that flavor up another couple of levels, I'm gonna show y'all one more trick. It's called mirepoix, or mirepoix, or something like that. But anyway, I call it mirepoix. I think I'm saying that pretty close to accurately. Now this is half a cup of carrots, half a cup of onions, and a 1/4 cup of celery. Now you can dump it all in there and it's gonna help the flavor a little bit, but really to extract the maximum flavor and bring out what is even better than just dumping them in there is to sweat them really low and slow in some butter in a pan, and it really brings out the extra good flavor. The ratio is what most chefs consider to be the ideal ratio for mirepoix. The chili's in the crock pot. It's barely got up to temp. We've got plenty of time to take our time and do this right. Because with mirepoix, we're not trying to saute, we're not trying to roast them or toast them. It's all about sweating them really slow over a longer process. This is the thing that we add to our chili that makes judges and just guests at your house say, what is that? Man, that's good. What is it? It's the mirepoix. All right, we got our mirepoix ready to go. I just turned off the heat, but y'all saw on the camera it was sizzling really nice and slow. We sweated this mirepoix for about 45 minutes. It's time to get it into our chili. But before we get it into the chili, I want to take a quick look at it and do a taste test. You know, it's just quality control, that's what I'm saying. It's been cooking really good. The chili's right on about 3 hours right now as we speak. This smells really great. And I'm just gonna get a little bit here into this little bowl. Maybe a little bit more. Give it a taste test. Man, that looks really nice. Look at that. Let's get the mirepoix in there. Let that little taste sample cool off a little bit. So let's give this chili a taste test. Oh man, that was instant hit. Like, ooh, that's good. Good, 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 good. That chili was delicious, but it was a little bit runny, so we have one more ingredient to add to thicken it up. We're gonna do that in about 30 minutes. The chili's been cooking for 3.5 hours. We have all the ingredients in there except our thickener. Now in my cookbook, I call for 2 tablespoons of flour, but in my previous chili video, I used a little bit more. It's all relative to how much liquid you have in there. Now I put 32 ounces of beef broth. It might have been just a hair much. Remember I said it was a little runny? And I'm fixing to add a little bit more. So I'm gonna add a little bit of water here, maybe about 1/4 cup. And I'm gonna get 2 tablespoons of masa. This is masa corn flour. I like to whisk it all up, make sure it's all blended really well with a little bit of liquid before I add it to my chili. That way it blends a lot better and a lot quicker that way. So we're making this nice little paste so that it won't be clumpy. Most people use flour here in the United States, but it is a very common thing to also use masa. We're gonna add a little more water. I don't want it to be too thick when I pour it in there. I want it to be runny so that it doesn't clump up. All right, here we go. So we got our masa in there. The reason we add flour, masa, arrowroot is to get it to thicken up. You want a nice kind of a thick consistency. Let's let this cook down with that masa in there for about 15-20 minutes, and then we'll determine if we want to add another tablespoon or not. Friends, our chili's been cooking for 4 hours. It's time to shake it out. Let's see what it looks like. Look at this consistency. I really, really like that. You could go a little bit thicker if you wanted to with a little more masa or flour or whatever you like to thicken your chili with. Everybody has different preferences, like everything cooking. You know, I like it a little bit loose like that, not runny, but definitely not super thick. So what I did about 15 minutes ago, I thought it was still a little too runny. So I went ahead and added another tablespoon of masa. So we've got a total of 3 tablespoons of masa in here. Use your own judgment. But this consistency here, I really like that. I'm gonna go ahead and reserve half of this. I'll tell you guys why in just a minute. That's about half of the 3 pounds of chili right there. Now I've got a surprise. Perfect. Beautiful pot of pinto beans. These are our regular everyday beans that we cook at our house. So we're gonna ask that question one more time. To bean or not to bean? That is the question. How do you like your chili? With beans or without beans? Now when it comes to the beans, in this recipe, we're using my basic bean recipe. That's 2 cups of beans, 4 ounces of salt pork, 2 strips of thick cut bacon, 2 garlic cloves, 3 teaspoons of salt, 1 teaspoon of black pepper, and about 7 quarts of water, depending on your cooker. So if you guys want that recipe, it's in my cookbook, but it's also on this channel. We've got a few different videos about that. These are the beans that we love at my house. We probably make them at least once a week. And so when it comes to beans in Texas style chili, I'd recommend having one of these pots ready to go. Some say that chili without beans is just hot dog sauce. Some say it's not real chili. So what do you say? Let me know in the comments below. We are going to take some of our beans right here, fresh pot of beans. We're gonna mix it in with our chili today. What do you think about that? I have 3 slices of bacon and half of a salt pork and 3 tablespoons of my soon-to-be released bean spice. It's amazing. We sent it out to some testers and everybody's raving about that bean spice. So I can't wait to release it so you guys can try it too. I think we've got a good mix here. Beans and chili together. That looks like a pretty good ratio to me. There ain't no right way, ain't no wrong way. You guys hear me say that 1,000 times. As we say in the rancho, mira, que chulada. All right, friends, I've got my Texas bowl of red with no beans. Let's serve up chili with beans. Oh man, this smells so good. You guys don't know what you're missing. It's time to dig on in. I'm gonna go ahead and start with the traditional Texas red, Texas chili. This is the award-winning recipe that is in my cookbook. So I'm gonna give this one a taste test first. And of course, we gotta get a little bit of chili, a little bit of cheese, a little bit of onion, a little bit of jalapeno. Man, that's good. That's so good. Weather's cool right now. This really hits the spot. On to chili with beans. Is that still considered chili? What say you guys? Let me know in the comments below. I'm gonna give it a taste test. This does not have any of the condiments, just beans and chili. Friends, in my opinion, they're both absolutely delicious. At the end of the day, it's always preference, right? But if I had to pick one today, I'm probably gonna go with the traditional, because this tastes a little more like chili than the one with the beans. This is absolutely delicious. I'll eat that all day, every day. But this has a traditional chili flavor on its own. Again, friends, this is my award-winning chili recipe that you can get out of my cookbook ArnieTex with over 100 recipes of Mexican-American cooking and Texas-style barbecue. And the beans in this chili are my basic bean recipe that you can also get in my cookbook. That combination together is wonderful as well. Now, y'all didn't catch me using any of my seasonings today, but you can get them on my website at arniesasada.com. We have my flagship Wow, we have my OG, a huge bestseller. We also have the Boom, lots of flavor and a little extra kick in there, and our recently released Mexican rice seasoning for perfect rice every time. And pretty soon you're gonna have the perfect bean spice as well. We'll see you guys on the next video. Keep the smoke light and make it work. Boom! Boom.